Hello, it is week 8 of Prepared Attack. The regular season is almost over suddenly. It feels like it was just halfway done, and now it's like, well, there are only 3 matches left before we get into playoffs. Very exciting stuff. This week I am playing Sabrewoif, with an I, who has a pretty scary offensive team. I'm not gonna lie. Brosliden, a fantastic beastie which has seen some significant buffs lately with the addition of Smooth and Whoosh. So it's able to play both incredibly offensive with slide sets and supportive with, you know, quick set, confident pass, things like that. Cord Anchor, just an all-around fantastic beastie. If you watched my pilot season matches, you'll know how much I have fallen in love with that thing for PvP. It just has so much bulk. Its offenses aren't too shabby because since it has so much bulk, you can send it to the front row a lot more often if you want to play it offensive, or it can sit in the back row and be a tank and just stay on the field forever. Apostle, a very threatening thing into my team specifically with competitive. My team relies a fair bit on boosting between Crabberay and Masquerie, both liking to juggle a whole bunch. I have a whole bunch of beasties which can use cheer, Boldler can use flex, so competitive is altogether kind of scary for me. It could also, of course, be hardy and shrug off hits better. Quite threatening mixed attacker, same with Cord Anchor. Cord Anchor also hits on 2 damage types. Dig'em, fantastic support, used to be on my team. Sabrewoif picked it up before the trade deadline. And it'll help keep some things on this team alive, especially once they're in the front row, like a Fruit Bulks that has a couple protector boosts. Can have a Dig'em tag in to, like, save it from going down to a hit, potentially. Surgus, or Fruit Bulks here, you know, protector, fantastic offensive threat. Also a great support with the ability to heal through things like Refresh, Treat, Calming Aura. Can also support other spirit attackers, of which there are several on the team, with Faith. Surgus, obviously, the A1 Rally Beastie, contest cut shot, both very scary moves if it can get up to the front and use them. Low defenses, which are short up when it gets Performer up when Rally is on the field. So my goal is definitely going to be to prevent that from happening as much as possible. And Platypulse, which has been a menace in the PvP metagame lately. Redirects all mine moves to itself and gets an easy receive, so it can be a fantastic support with set or a really threatening attacker with Ricochet, Dump, Freeze Ray, Snipe. It has a lot of options right now. With that said, I am taking a bit of a gamble with my team this week, and I don't think Platypulse is coming. Not 100%. It could still come, but I have a lot of body attackers on my team, a lot of spirit attackers, not a lot of mind attackers. Well, I have technically 3 mind attackers, but only one of them is really a mind attacker. And I think, especially with the fact that Sabrewoif has 3 beasties in Fruit Bulks, Surgus, and Platypulse that are weak to body, I don't think that he's going to bring several of those. If it's several of those, I think it's more likely to be Fruit Bulks and Surgus, because they support each other more successfully. And if Rally's going to be in the equation, which I think it may be, my team has some very good spirit defenders and some very middling spirit defenders, especially Crabberay and Illigus. Boldler also not the best. So I think if it's going to be any 2 of the body weak beasties, it's going to be Fruit and Surgus. I think Platypulse is fairly likely to stay behind because my main mind attacker in Illigus has the ability to run Precise, which ignores Neurolet altogether. So if I'm Sabrewoif here, I don't think I bring Platypulse almost ever. That said, that's not the only gamble I'm taking. Let's take a look at my team for this week. Let me get my bash rewards real quick. And set my in-game party to my current team. So we have, as per usual, a little bit of lead deception here. I have Illigus up front, but they are not the main focus of the team and not the beastie who will be serving in game 1. I am on serve this week. What I have predicted is I am expecting to probably see the very powerful counterserve of Frufolk's Battle Cry next to Brosliden. What that allows is it allows Brosliden to get a slide off, or Frufolk's to get a Protector Scream off very easily and just chunk my team. And I'm running, as you can see, a silly Boldler set. We will see if it works out, but hear me out here. We have as our lead here Tornado Ball Hopra to basically cycle out one of the two. That is, in fact, actually going to be Brosliden, despite the fact that Frufolk's might seem like the more logical answer. And the reason for that is Hopra can take those body hits incredibly easily. Boldler with Armored can take it decently well, and I'm going to click Pump Up on Counterserve. If Scream hits Boldler, I'm going to take 64. Rumpus will heal 6 and then 6 again, which will put me from 36 up to 48. Boldler then on the next turn, moving to the back row, or blocking the Frufolk's, will take something like 40, assuming the Frufolk's was not able to apply Battle Cry, which it shouldn't be able to, because a +3 High Slam, a High Slam from the net with 2 boosts, which I will certainly have between Cheer and Pump Up, or almost certainly have, knocks out Frufolk's if it doesn't move to the back or block, so it should ideally not be able to Battle Cry on the second turn and do the same amount of damage. So the flowchart here is very particular. It's Tornado Ball into Pump Up on the serve and then post-serve turns. And hopefully I should just be able to start taking huge chunks out of Sabrewoif's team. Obviously, if the Boulder does get hit, that means I get 2 cheers off rather than 1, and it's actually a +4 High Slam, which is even more damaging. So hopefully, we see Hopper getting hit, which means that Boldler has more ability to stay on the field and keep its boosts for longer. With that said, supporting these two, well, we have Mighty Yell and Hopper as well, so that Boldler can survive a bit longer as well. Provoke on Boldler just as a general support move. Noizard here with Clamor to, again, redirect attacks away from Boldler or whatever else might be around. I'm running Scream on it this week to potentially take advantage of Rally to do a bit more damage, and also allow High Slam to hit the opposite row, which is something it can't do normally because it does have that restriction of only targeting straight ahead. So hopefully that should help. Other than that, Whistle Scream on the Noizard, so I can get even more redirection after tagging it in and getting Clemmer off. After that, just 2 very solid beasties, same sets as last week, basically. Slightly different defenses on the Masquerade, just for the vibe of the team I think I'm going to be facing here. I don't think I'm going to be facing many Mind Attackers. If Tordanker comes running Mind, it's a little bit scary, but we will see. I've done a little bit of VOD review, and Sabrewoif tends to run like boom stuff on it more often. So I'm hoping that we are not going to see any Mind Attackers this week. We will see. Juggle Stomp Drum on the Masquerade, just the classic drum set to ramp up and sit in the back row but still put out incredible damage. Illigits around with Sneak Attack, Lay Trap, Torch Pass, so I can lead with it in a potential future game if I find that the Hopra Boulder Serve doesn't work out for some reason. Lay Trap and Trapper, I am forgoing Precise because I really think the Platypulse isn't coming. If the Platypulse does come, it's not the worst because this is the only Mind Beastie I'm running on this team, and Trapper is still going to be super useful anyway. Just getting that passive damage on the field, and of course Torque Pass to bring Hopra or Noizard or Boldler back up, probably most likely Noizard in most of the matches, and that's the team. Hopra has 16 Spirit Defense specifically, so it can survive 2 of these Screams coming off of a Frufolk's in the back row. Or while Hopra is in the back row, if the Frufolk's has 1 Protector boost and is not jazzed. We'll see if that comes to matter. Either way, Sabrewoif has a fantastic lobby code, which is sorry. So, I am serving. We have right side serving, extended time limit, undo on, as per usual with draft. Let's get into it. That intro was a lot longer than I meant it to be. Oh well. We do see the Tordanker, Bristleiden, Proofolks in that order. If it's Tordanker, Bristleiden, I think that's also fine. I probably just Tornado Ball the Bristleiden, and I'm even in an even better situation because the Proofolks obviously will not have a protector boost if it's not on the field. But I'm expecting the Bristleiden Proofolks counterserve here, and we will see if I'm correct. Ooh, it's Proofolks Apostle. Okay. Scream, Careful Shot, Battle Cry, Exert, Grit, Stinky. Fun. Interesting. So it may be a Battle Cry counterserve. It may be a Stinky counterserve. I can force the Dig'em in here in the serving slot, which I think is absolutely the right thing to do here, because it means I don't give the Proofolks a protector boost. Shanty Tordanker with Boom, Mighty Yell, Provoke, that's kind of the set I expected here. Flex, Slide, Whoosh on the Bristleiden, again, about what I expected. Dig'em has no attacks, which is why I really wanted in the serving slot here. Exert Grit is interesting and kind of a bit scary. But again, I'm super invested into Spirit Defense, so it shouldn't be a huge issue, and it's not going to be able to fire off a Grit right away. We see Stinky into the Boldler. Makes sense. We see almost certainly an Exert here. But I'm fine with that, I think. Boldler is not taking very much from an Exert. In fact, so little that I think it will be able to heal it off with Rumpus fairly easily. Yeah, 26. So that'll heal off in 5 turns and I'll have Armored backup. And I can get a Provoke off here. A Provoke and a Tornado Ball. I could also go for a Cheer if I so desire. But I think overall, I might rather just provoke the Boldler and like click Tornado Ball into it. So, sorry, provoke the Apostle so it can't block. It receives the ball and thus has a harder time sending a Grit off, especially since there isn't a Faith user here. If Froof comes in, that's a little bit scary, but I can move Boldler to the back if I absolutely need to, or again, just click Mighty Yell. So let's do that. Let's make sure Stinky can't be clicked so I have more options and prevent this Apostle from blocking here. Ooh, we see Hawkeye. Interesting. I totally did not look at the fact that that was around. So double Calming Aura here into Grit, gonna do a lot of damage. That said, I have a boost. How much is High Slam doing? Not the most. But that said, my decision here is always just to click block onto the Apostle because it's the only thing that's attacking here. We do see the Grit into Glacier here. I take 51, which is not a great amount to see. After 2 Cheers, I do deal a whole lot of damage with High Slam. Dig'em is doing a lot to mitigate this damage. I expect we see the Tordanker switch in here so that Provoke can be clicked. No, Tordanker switching in would actually cause the Apostle to go down here. So, I mean, I'm just clicking High Slam. The Apostle kind of has to move to the back. It could be another Hawkeye, to be fair. If it is another Hawkeye, again, though, I have the ability to click Mighty Yell next turn. Yeah, we see Apostle move to the back. So back row Grit is going to do a lot less damage. I'm actually going to click Mighty Yell here. It doesn't let me get another Cheer off, but what'll happen is if I want to attack for the Dig'em for any reason, I'll be able to do that, which I think is a good option to have. hit the Hopra anyway, so that was a bit of a waste. But I can provoke the Dig'em here and just click another High Slam and deal a whole bunch of damage into anything. And Dig'em won't be able to click Calming Aura now, which is super good for me. We will see if Sabrewoif decides to switch out. I think a good play for him here might be to not switch out, but we do see the switch. Boom, I expect likely to go into Hopper here. I could, however, just click another Pump Up and get even more boosts. And I think I'm going to do that, because there's really no damage threatened here. The passive damage is there, obviously, but this just means I can get yet another cheer off and hit the Dig'em if I want to. High Slam now doing 80 to Dig'em, which is absurd. Dig'em is still angry, so it can't click Hawkeye here. And yeah, I mean, I'm just going to continue chunking things. My Boulder, I think, is at like +5 now, which is absurd. Yeah, a big reason why I decided to run this set here was there was a chance that Patience came on Tord Anchor, but with no Cyclone, I don't need to run Steadfast, so I can just throw Armored on there and take hits and have a Rumpus Beastie next door. Okay, we see the Tord Anchor go down, we see Brosliden come in. I can just force it out again. The Fruitfolks is likely to come in this slot. But I really am far more fine with the Fruitfolks clicking like a +2 Scream, especially because Hopra actually survives that. The +1 slide would obviously be quite bad here, so I'm just going to force that Dig'em into the Surf slot again. Okay, we actually see Dig'em switch in. Interesting. So that means... I mean, Scream is an option here, but it actually won't knock out Boltler. Rumpus is coming in big time for us here. So if it's a careful shot into the front row, I take it. There's no way for Dig'em to boost Fruitfolks' damage here, so I can just pop up. And that'll cover both the careful shot and any attacks that might go into Hopra. Chant into the Apostle. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, just healing both of them, but I do, again, get a +4 High Slam off here, which is going to do a lot of damage. And I can probably tag Noizard in here fairly safely. A Battlecry boosted Scream. I am, again, max Spirit Defense on Noizard, so I really shouldn't be taking that much damage, especially once I, swap into the macro. We see Hawkeye come out first. Fruitfolk's Scream, if it moves to the front, is not going to knock out Hopra by the looks of it. I'm also not sure it knocks out Boldler here. Right, yeah, no, this is the situation of if it's at +2, I'm taking like 47 damage maybe, so I should be able to block here and survive. Unfortunately, Boulder is noisy, so it will be taking the next attack no matter what, but I mean, I get another massive High Slam off here, which should knock, I think, anything out. Yeah, this gets a KO on anything, even if I'm blocked. If the Fruitfolks moves to the side, that's a survival, but we're good here. So very good start so far to game one. All right, we see the block. It's not enough. If I Tornado Ball the Fruit Volks here... oh, and Boulder actually won't be noisy anymore, so I could even Mighty Yell if I wanted to, but I think I'm probably going to tack something else in at this point. Tornado Ball will either bring in the Imposter or the Tort Anchor, depending on who tags in for the Dig'em, and I'm fine with either of those. Ooh, we see Brosliden comes in, so that's not exactly ideal. Slide from the front row going to do a lot of damage to Hopra potentially here, but I think that's fine. I mean, I'm just going to tag in Masquerie here. So, a +2 boosted slide, so 1.5ing this, so Hopper takes 37 from a boosted slide, meaning it'll take 74 once front row and boost are into account, and I am fine to let it go down here. I would much rather tag out. I would much rather let Hopper go down here. Or Hopper going down is almost inevitable. I would much rather have Hopper go down than like tag in Noizard. So I am simply going to go into Masquerade here and just do some repositioning. 73, cool. I'm getting good at the math here. We're gonna see an Exert Serve here or a Grit Serve. Either one I'm fine with. I tag in Illigus here. I start getting some traps up so that stuff finds it harder to come in. I can also set Drum here, which I think is probably a good idea. Just to have it up for Masquerie and start mitigating damage. I almost certainly hit the Brosliden here, so it finds it harder to get boosts. What's the counter serve here? I'm guessing it's Stinky. I'm not sure into who. But either way, a front row Grit is something I can just tag Noizard into, and that's fine. Or, you know, I can just block it, which is also fine. I didn't really consider Exert Grit in the prep, but that wasn't really what I was focused on. I was focused on just, like, getting that big advantage on the counter serve, and I think I've done that pretty well so far. So sneak into the Brosliden here. We see the Stinky come out into Masquerie, which is kind of expected. I have a couple options here. A slide from the front, again, 48 to 72. That will absolutely KO. Grit will also KO, so my move here is definitely to tag in Noizard. Yeah, we do see the front row slide. Noizard taking a chunk of damage, but I'm able to click Whistle here, and I get some more traps up, and I'll be clicking Shield on defense, assuming the Tort Anchor doesn't come in. Only one trap up, so I won't be able to knock it out, but I can just hit Sneak into the Brosliden here, do a whole bunch of damage. And then click Shield. If the Tort Anchor comes in, then the Shield can get provoked, but that also means that one of these two isn't on the field, so I can probably block with Illigus to save the point. That or get a Torch Pass off into Boldler or something and do some repositioning. Okay, we see just the block. Which doesn't really do much because this Brosliden can't actually get a slide boost off here. Slide, that said, will knock out Noizard, so will a front row Grit, so I do unfortunately just need to shield, but again, I can't be provoked here. So shield is fine. I'll be able to click Lay Trap into sneak attack next turn, and this Apostle is going to be down to 26, so no matter what, I should get a point here. It does click Exert, actually, so we could see, like, Tort Anchor coming in here. With that said, I am simply going to Lay Trap. I now have all 4 stacks of Trap up, so that's 32 damage on whatever switches in for the Brosliden here. Imposter's +1 grit does 96. So that won't actually knock out Iligus here, meaning that I am safe to just hit into whatever is not the Imposter. The main concern, of course, being that it is the Fruit Folks, and then that comes in and blows me up with a Scream. Yeah. Yeah, Grit doing 96, Scream doing less. Noizard not able to go down here, so I'm honestly inclined to just leave it on the field for another turn, because that means I'm saving some HP on Hopra, but I could also tag Hopra in and potentially get a cheer off. With that said, if I tag Hopra in and Iligus gets hit, it's kind of bad, so I am just going to block the Imposter here. I have all 4 traps up, so I don't really need a support action here. And yeah, we do see the front row grit. So that allows me to click Whistle again. And I should basically have the game here. Sneak into the front row won't knock out the Dig'em if it comes in, but we should just basically have this should be checkmate. Yeah, I mean, we see Dig'em come in. Oh, it does have Chant, so it can actually wake up this Imposter here. But again, I have... Imposter's going to come back with like 30 stamina, I believe, due to Rush Recovery. And I can just shield here. Make sure Iligus doesn't take damage. Yeah, it is Chant into Exert. Exert specifically. Yeah, so that might actually... Nope, drained. Exert... Since it was only 30 stamina, Exert applied 2 more Sweaty after the one that it gets from recovering from Wiped. So we do actually just get the KO here. Again. Hawkeye will not save the game. All right, so that's game 1. Very happy with how that went. I'm glad to do something with High Slam. This move is such a, like, silly one that never sees PvP use, but I found a niche for it here. All right, Sabrewoif is going to serve. My counter serve plan should be pretty much the same. It just means I get to click Pump Up earlier. So I get to click Pump Up right away. We see Tort Anchor on the serve. I'm expecting probably a boom into Hopra, which makes sense. But it does mean I can probably provoke the Brosliden and kind of render it not that useful at the moment. Or I could High Slam. Oh, we see the High Slam directly into the boulder. Okay. Well, that means I don't have to volley, which is lovely, and that does little enough damage that I'll have armored back up in a moment. So I'm going to do a lot of damage here. We're probably seeing a Mighty Yell here. And that's fine because I can click Mighty Yell myself next turn. I don't even think I'll need to, actually. I think I can probably just block. Yeah, Mighty Yell comes out. Slide doing very little damage. It'll obviously do a lot more once it moves to the front. Again, 37, so 74 to Hopra. If I block, it'll be less. But actually, notably, it cannot take a KO here. So I have half a mind to just click Pump Up right away, but I think I'm gonna block for safety. I mean, I'm already at +3, so one more Pump Up isn't really gonna do much, especially when I'm already in the front row. This is a very good position for me to be in. Bro with a defense boost now is actually going to do a lot better at taking this high slam. But what I can do is potentially just move Boulder to the side, and I think I may do that here. Let's check the damage with one more cheer. One more cheer would KO, but it's likely to move to the back. I'm gonna go for the read here. I'm gonna hit the high slam into the Tort Anchor. If the Bristleiden moves to the side here, fantastic read. Yeah, well done, well done. Good play. Unfortunately, it can't get a boosted slide off here, so I should actually be okay to just click like Mighty Yell. Either that, or I mean, I can just move Boulder to the side again. That's probably even better because it means if the open lane is targeted, then Hopper doesn't take any damage. We see Provoke into the Hopra. Smart play, smart play. I should, however, I think just get a point here, and Rumpus is gonna peel me up again. Yeah, Hopra can't click anything here, which is a little annoying, but High Slam should do it. All right, we see the block. I guess that makes sense. Tornado Ball here. I'm fine if Frufolks comes in. Hopra should take just 50. But I want this Bristleiden off the field because it'll be on the bench with like 32 stamina if I Tornado Ball it off right here, and that is fantastic. Obviously, the same could be said for the Tort Anchor, but the Tort Anchor is less threatening if it's on the field still after this. Which is why I want the Bristleiden gone. Okay, no switch, so Frufolks is in. I can just click Pump Up here. All right, Provoke. Yeah, you know, that's fair. That's a very fair play. I hadn't considered that was an option on the table there. And it's definitely the correct play. Prevent the pump up from going off, which I clicked without a second thought as to whether it was actually going to happen or not. I do get a front row high slam off, obviously, but I don't get any boosts, so. All right, we see the Imposter come in. Grid is not active, so I'm not concerned about any super big damage into the Boulder. Additionally, it doesn't look like Scream KOs anything. So I'm kind of interested in just doing absolutely nothing on this defense turn because it gets me some Rumpus healing and means that my Boulder will be able to get a boost and do some damage, especially if the Hopper gets hit here. I expect we probably see an Exert here and a Posture in the front row, which might allow it to move to the side. We see a back row Exert, okay. High Slam after a cheer won't get a KO onto this Frufolks here. I think what I instead want to do is I want to make sure Stinky doesn't get clicked. Because I see Stinky being a pretty obvious click here, so I'd just like to provoke it. I can still deal pretty good damage with a high slam here into the fruit box, which I don't think is switching out. Oh, we see Dig'em actually. Okay, so it's volley into front row grit or calming aura here. Front row grit again won't KO the boulder. I think I just shift to side here. If I lose the point, actually, if I lose the point, am I fine with that? The answer to that question, I think, is I'm kind of fine with Hopper going down here, but at the same time, it might be nice to not have Hopper go down here. I'm gonna move Glacier to the side. If I lose a point here, it's not rough at all, and if I don't lose a point, that means I have Exert wasn't clicked, so I just have a double cheer into High Slam here to just chunk something. The Potter will go down after it's sweaty on the next turn, I think. Actually, it might not. If the Dig'em clicks Hawkeye here, it might not. Hawkeye would actually be a fantastic play here on Sabrewoif's part, because now that I look at it, I probably should have predicted that, in fact. Because what's going to happen is the Apostle being hardy here is going to just heal off basically all of that damage between Calming Aura and such. So that was a very good play. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, none of that damage matters. With that said, I can get Noise Art in here, and that'll allow me to High Slam either row, depending on what I prefer. Or potentially, like, click Scream into the Dig'em. I think Scream into the Dig'em after the Noise Art attack here would be a fun play, because that then creates, or should create a 50-50, I think. We see Chant and Calming Aura. Exert, again, just a reset sweat. Yeah, that makes sense. High Slam can hit the Dig'em here, and I think I kind of want it to. I do need this Dig'em off the field as soon as possible, because it is actually probably the best thing to counter this Boldler. This beastie that was once on my team is now being the bane of my existence, punishing me for dropping it. I don't regret the trade, for that said, but it's a fun little moment of karma, I guess. Ooh, we see Stinky instead. Okay, in that case, I'm very glad I got the damage onto Dig'em. Grit from the front row here doing a lot of damage, but I can block if I want. With that said, I think what I'm going to do is actually just tag into Hopper and let it go down here. Assuming the attack goes into the Boldler, which I think there's no reason to think it won't. Boldler's on great HP, Hopper is not, so I'd love Hopper to wipe here. Okay. Attack likely to come into whatever's next to the Noise Art here. I think I'd like that to be Masquery. Ilias might have been a better idea, but Ilias would take a lot more damage that wouldn't be healed up. So I'm just going to set up Drum Up. I'm just going to set Drum Up here at Scream, I think. Having Drum Up, especially with these two on field, is just super nice. Noisy into the Dig'em. We see Provoke come in. Good play, good play. Scream still not doing a threatening amount of damage here, if I'm perfectly honest. I could even tag in Boldler here to enable Provoke. How much are my Screams doing? Not enough to make it worthwhile to like move forward or anything. Scream from the front row will knock out Masquery here, so I can't safely move them forward. With that said, High Slam here, if I tag Boldler in here. It will mean a free ball serve after I win the point. Oh, careful shot. Good play. Boldler is in the serving slot, which is a little rough. But I mean, I can just click pump up here and do the same thing I did on counter serve earlier, start threatening a whole lot of damage. Or not actually that much, apparently. But a stomp from the front row actually will knock out Diggum, so I am simply going to do that instead. Either that or I could click stomp into the Fruit Folks, which I think is probably actually a better idea now that I think about it. I have lost 2 points, it's worth noting. So stuff is a little bit scary right now. If the Burst Slide-In comes in for Diggum here, I'm kind of screwed, but Sabrewoif's bench is not in the best shape. So if I force the Fruit Folks to stay in the back row here, that could be pretty good. Especially if the Hawkeye goes into Boldler. Ooh, we see Tort Anchor in, okay. Careful shot the back row is an option. Scream is not going to do much damage to Noizard. There's actually no way to knock out the Boldler here, and I think now the Boldler does take a more supporting role. Since it is already noisy, there's no reason to tag in another noisy beastie, so I think I'm just going to run to the back row here, and that means I can get either a Provoke or a Juggle off next turn, and start going with the secondary win con of just boost Masquerade a whole bunch. Yeah, we see the Provoke into Masquerade makes sense, but that does allow me to get a Provoke back. Oh no, it doesn't. Sorry, the Provoke went into Boulder. Okay, so that means I get a Juggle off. And Stomp actually appears to just win us the game here. Holy moly. Trying to figure out if there's any out here, and I don't think there is. Well, this wins me the point. Do I not want to win the point? Do I want to not win the point? I don't think there's any reason I should not win the point here. And definitely what I'd rather have go down here is whatever isn't the Tort Anchor, so I'm gonna hit whatever isn't the Tort Anchor. We see Diggum come in. That I am fine with. A boosted slide. 34 times 2 is 68. That will knock out Masquerade. No, it won't, because I'll have Drum Healing. So Masquerade will actually just survive, so I won't need to tag in Noizard specifically, which is good, because it means I can probably get an Aelagus. And potentially, like, get a Torch Pass off. I definitely always hit this slot, because it's probably going to be the Burst Slide-In. Yeah. Boldler might or might not. Boldler will actually take 45 from a front row slide. So they do need to switch out. Oh, it's not gonna... Masquerade is actually nowhere near going down here. That's good. Drum's gonna stop here, so I definitely don't tag in Noizard. I think it's probably just Hopra, so I can start Mighty Yelling, especially if the Masquerade gets hit here. This is overall a much tighter game than the first, but I think I might still have it. If the Provoke gets to come back... Oh, right, Chant. Yeah, that's a bit scary. Hopper does not take much damage. I can just set Drum back up, and there's definitely no reason not to. Click Stomp into the Burst Slide-In. Masquerade's going to be kept super healthy now. It's going to be up to 93 after Rumpus and Drum. Hopper will be at 77, which is still very respectable health. And if I recall, more than it needs to survive a +2 slide. I don't think a +2 slide can come out because I am hitting into the Burst Slide-In, but, you know, it's worthwhile to keep the calcs in my head. Okay, we see the Fruit Hooks come in. That does mean Careful Shot is on the table. Scream is there and certainly an option, but I think my best play here is almost certainly just to move Masquerade forward and get that +1 on offenses here and press the advantage. Scream into the Masquerade will obviously be somewhat scary, but it's a careful shot here. Tries to go for it, respectable. Double juggle into stomp here. Does not KO, but does force a Hawkeye 100% of the time here, and I should be winning from this point. Yeah, Hawkeye means Proof does survive. But again, Scream not doing very much damage here. I'm just gonna Mighty Yell with Hopra for good measure. Make sure this Masquerade stays healthy, because since this is the last point of the game, there is no way there will be another point after this. I already have a couple boosts on my body power, and I want to make sure I can preserve that momentum as long as I can. We just see the immediate Scream. Makes sense. Volley into juggle here, and this should probably be game. Yeah, nothing over here survives. Okay. So that's a 2-0 victory. Bowler came so clutch this week. I was really iffy on whether this set was going to work out. There were worlds where it definitely didn't work out, but and I built teams where I wasn't using it after I originally built this team. Because I was like, wait, no, Sabrewoif can just block. And then I realized I can just 1v1 the Fruit Hulks on counterserve. And yeah, overall, very glad I brought this. Glad to show off High Slime's capability. All right. Okay, so Sabrewoif will be in for an interview in just a bit. Right.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, and good games. I made a pretty hard read as to what you were bringing this week, I think.
Yeah. My team's pretty interesting in the sense that sometimes I think myself into a wall.
Yeah.
I set it up. It was one of the things I discovered a couple weeks in, which led to my downturn in results essentially. When I realized the way my team was sort of set up, it wasn't flexible enough in the way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts building it this week? Because you have you have like a good team here for taking on something I would normally bring, but I brought something silly. So
yeah, no. Usually every week people have always seen the platypus and prepared exclusively for the platypus and thus have things you do otherwise. I thought that would be the case this time. In essence, it kind of was because the core of the build was the body damage, the boulder. Which, to be honest, when I look at boulder, I don't usually. This is an oversight on my end. I don't usually think carry boulder.
Yeah.
So,
no, it definitely feels like more of a supportive beastie.
So that caught me off guard a little bit, but otherwise I thought I could get by messing around with things with the Diggum.
Yeah, Diggum was a super fun bring.
Because I like Diggum because I like being able to use Hawkeye and chant particularly, but also calming or also like restores the health you lose.
When you Hawkeye into double chanted in game 1, I was just like, oh. Yeah, I suppose that is an option that is available.
It is a fun little thing. It
was like I went from saying, oh, I'm in a really good position here to, oh, this game is not over.
It was really good for me in the bash, actually. It's I was actually quite happy with how I placed in the bash. But that team, I think, is better with the Diggum, so to speak, than this setup is specifically. But I wanted to try it out anyway because I just I didn't see an area where what I had previously would help me, so I thought let's try something different.
Yeah, I mean there were a lot of times where it's just like, oh, like the first time you clicked Hawkeye, I was just like, oh, I don't win a point here. Yeah, I mean that was a super good break.
I didn't really have a chance to stop the boulder, so I couldn't really.
Yeah, I think. I think the lack of ability to deal with the boosts, especially with the Masquerie near the end of game 2, was a little bit rough for you. Like, patience on the Tort Anchor might have helped maybe, but I see why Mighty L was there, obviously. It supports the Fruit incredibly well.
So yeah, ultimately, that's just how that one ended up. And it happens. There's a couple of games I've had so far in the league where it's just been like, maybe could have been different if I'd taken XYZ, but hindsight. Nice. Yeah,
I mean, I made a really hard call this week that you were not bringing the Platypulse. Like, my mind defenses are incredibly low because I just thought, I have a lot of body attackers, and my mind attacker is a precise user. I don't think Plat is coming here. And if you had brought it, I think it might have devastated my team.
Yeah, so it's the one week where I'm like, yeah, this time definitely maybe should have, but yeah, I don't know, it's been weird. Having it has been weird for me because it's changed the course of all of my weeks and my games and how.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see.
Oddly polarizing.
Yeah, polarizing is the right word for it. It's interesting to see, like, just as it's been warping like the main PvP metagame around itself lately, it's doing the same to any draft match it's in. Like, it's a very strong beastie right now. To think this thing went for 4 points in the pilot season.
I know, right? But to be fair, it's the change. The change did make a big difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, its ability to support went way up with the easy receive, allowing it to click set into things. So, yeah, I mean, if I was on your side, though, like, I look at this matchup and I'm like, what is Platypulse doing here?
Yeah.
So, like, the decision to not bring it totally makes sense.
Happy for you to just put you in a very good position.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm guaranteed to make playoffs here. I think you still have a chance as well. I believe you're down to 3-5 now, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so, but, we'll see. Yeah.
Let's pop up the standings, which people might be able to see. Yeah, you'll be down to 3-5. You're in a bit of a rough spot with like the win-loss tiebreaker, but you still definitely have a chance. If you win your last couple of matches in good fashion, you could definitely make playoffs here, I think.
I won't hold my breath, but it would be nice.
Yeah, but you have coming up a match against Balamar and a match against Arctech, so two like pinnacles of the PvP scene who have been a little bit lower in the standings in draft, so I'm wishing you the best of luck in those matches.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To you as well.
Thank you. And thanks for chatting.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. And to anyone watching on YouTube, as always, thank you so much. Consider subscribing if you've enjoyed all the Draft League content. If you want to watch more Draft League content, there's a playlist in the description with both all of my content and all of everyone's content from this season of Prepared Attack. You can also watch my speedrun streams on Twitch. Link to that is also in the description. And most of all, have a good time zone.